Hello, it's Alden, and here is how I did this 3D shot of a speakeasy door. And this is done with some images from textures.com, as well as some 3D scans that I have. And at the end, I'll let you know how you can get a couple of these scans for yourself. So first, I went on textures.com and found a ton of metal doors, and then found this blue one that I decided I was going to use. So I kind of got rid of the walls first, and then went into Photoshop and just cleaned up a couple things, swapped it out there. So this is my starting point. So the first thing is adding a bunch of loop cuts, just because I'm going to extrude all of the, I don't know what you call those things under the rivets, those like seams and rivets. So then I select the faces of what I want to extrude. Hit E and then extrude it forward. And a couple more of these I'm going to extrude a little bit more. And I'm going to go in the knife tool down here on the bottom and get all of this kind of wreckage stuff. Select the background and extrude it backwards so it all sticks out a little bit. And this is a good starting point. Bring in a model of a person just to get the size right. And then I'm going to start modeling the actual speakeasy door itself, which is just a plane and extruding in and out and backwards and forwards a few times just to give some variation. And then I'm going to make the door, which is just another plane extruded out. Lines up, something that I can slide over to the side. Use a cylinder to make some columns. And then I just add an array modifier to make a few of them, and then just sort of adjust as needed. And this is the kind of basic modeling of the speakeasy door. I'm going to parent everything to an empty and then move it down so it's in the right spot, and do some additional scaling there. So it kind of lines up with the person. And then I'm going to go to my door and delete some pieces of it so that this speakeasy door looks like it's part of the door. So I'm going to take this little column seam thing there and just move it over. Take this one on the right, move it over also. More little pieces there, move it up. Basically just trying to make this look like it's part of the door. Then I'm going to take the flat plane part, just literally just duplicate it and fill in these gaps. And there we go, we have a speakeasy window. So then I'm just going to apply the same door texture to it, unwrap it, and just kind of realign some stuff so it looks like it makes sense as part of this door. And then where I have those seams, I'm just going to do some more extrusions where it makes sense with that texture, and that's just going to make the whole thing kind of settle in nicely. Do the same thing with the speakeasy window. Don't like that little rivet there. I'm just going to make the speakeasy window kind of like two pieces and slide the UV that way. For the cylinders, I'm going to move this around, and then I'm actually going to apply the array modifier so that I can adjust the UV for each cylinder. So that's the reverse shot. So now I'm going to set up some lighting to kind of match the scene to make sure that this looks like the door that they're looking at. Got kind of like a mint colored light, some magenta, and some purple going on. Then I'm going to go into the texture of the door, add some roughness there, as well as a little bit of bump, and then bring in that green screen footage with images as planes and just make sure everything is kind of, lining up the right way. And now I'm going to build the rest of the room. So here are a bunch of scans that I have for this film project, which is a sci-fi film called The Robosexual. And a lot of these are 3D scans from Roosevelt Island in New York City and some places in Brooklyn and New York City. The nice thing about having a bunch of these assets made and then putting them in your assets browser is that when it's time to make a scene like this, it's pretty quick actually, because you just kind of take your pieces and then just start playing around and building with it. I use the square pillar a lot. It comes in super handy all of the time. Just rotating it different ways. Here's like a little roof asset I'm also going to add. And we're starting to get somewhere with it. We're going to add some yellow light in the background because when the speakeasy door opens, casts this yellow light on the actors that we shot with our production footage. But I'm going to go try some other models that I have and adjust the walls. And I actually really like this one with the pipes. So I'm just kind of duplicating it and using one for each wall. And I think that kind of definitely gives it the sort of industrial underground cavern kind of look that where this sort of underground speakeasy place is in the world of the film. And then now that I've got that set up, I'm gonna put in a camera move that I already had. This is the reference there, so I knew exactly what it was going to be and how many frames it needed to be, which normally I would definitely be setting up the camera before doing any of the lighting and modeling, but I already knew what the camera move was going to be, but I just, got it set up for this. So just some lighting there. I also added this little vent, which came from another scan, just to make that wall on the left a little more interesting. And then here is that render with that speakeasy door. So I used it for 3 shots. And then here it is sort of intercut with the reverse shots and with the lighting, and when it's all color treated, it looks pretty good. And I don't think, if you didn't watch this tutorial, you'd probably never guess that this was a total VFX shot, and it's because of these 3D scans. So if you want some of these 3D scans, you can get this square column for free from my website, link in the description below. You can also find a free After Effects script there as well. So feel free to go download it. And if you want any of the other 3D assets, I've been thinking about putting together a Patreon. So let me know in the comments below if you think that's something you would want to subscribe to. Bye.